Wonderful. Wow. Thank you, Keisha. I feel blessed. I'm so grateful and honored to have the opportunity to share this sacred space in heart, mind, soul, and spirit with all of you BIPOC women who are here today. When we pull together to share our resources, magic happens. And when we pull together for our collective healing, our bloodlines are transformed. So I invite us to center ourselves in the truth that we are here to confront generational trauma. We are here to heal, and we are here to restore our inherent wholeness in community and sisterhood. In the spirit of being trauma sensitive, let me tell you how my keynote is going to go. We're going to have a quick centering activity, an invocation. I'll share 3 stories and close out. So let's just calm our nervous systems. And I invite you to turn off your camera. You can't see us. I didn't realize that until now. And take a seat for this centering activity. And just feel the floor grounding you. Notice all of the colors in your space. Notice the textures in your space. Notice the elements of nature that may be in your space. Notice the depths of the room that you're in. The space in front of you, the space behind you, and the space above you. And when you're ready, you can begin to rest the eyes. See if you can connect to the parts of the body that are connecting to the earth. You can lift these parts of the body like the toes, feet, and legs. You could spread them wide and shake them out. You see me doing that. And now let's just plant the feet onto the ground. Feel the 4 corners of the earth, bringing awareness to the lower legs, to the kneecaps, to the hips. As you're sitting, feel into your sits bones, those bones that are rooted in your seat. You can move the waist in a circular motion, activating your creative center. You can move your torso in a circular motion, bringing awareness to your power and your heart centers. And now let's bring awareness to the arms and the hands, stretching them and shaking them out. Roll the neck and shake the head side to side. And now let's take a deep belly breath. And we're coming back together. I'll continue with the invocation. May the presence of the sacred, the presence of our honorable ancestors, the presence of our highest healed selves, and the presence of our healed descendants be with us on this journey today. As a teacher, writer, herbalist, and healer, a big part of my life involves using stories as medicine. I read stories and I write stories. Stories have been the healing balm of the past and the ways I confront generational trauma. I was born to heal because it's a calling. It wasn't something I chose. It's something that's always been reflected in my nature. Embracing this path has humbled me because I have had opportunities that my parents didn't. My openness to reclaim ancestral traditions, honor both the divine feminine and masculine energies to achieve inner harmony, the dreams, the downloads, and the many ways of knowing have allowed me to embody the mystic archetype. They say a mystic is someone who turns venom into nectar. I have looked closely at the poison that has been injected into my family by colonization, history, and society. I have witnessed our maladaptive coping mechanisms as well as our healing. I have 3 stories about the alchemy of confronting intergenerational trauma, accessing ancestral healing, and growing from my bloodline's wounds. 1. Trauma is not new to me. I was born into a Haitian family that experienced a great deal of trauma from generations, from unstable governmental conditions to immense poverty and lack of access to essential resources, to natural disasters that brought famine and despair. I have learned that trauma can manifest in personal, vicarious, intergenerational, and institutional forms. Trauma is often inherited and shapes who we are, yet we can tap into an inner well and rewrite the story. My father was my first teacher of what it meant to bear witness. When growing up in Brooklyn, New York, he told me stories of his own childhood, trauma as a result of Hurricane Flora. He told me of crops drying up on his parents' farm, cattle falling like flies, and nothing but mangoes to eat with salt for breakfast, lunch, and dinner because mangoes were strong enough to grow in dry soil. He told me stories of intergenerational trauma, reaching back to the Haitian Revolution and how his country is still paying a high price for pursuing their freedom. He also told enchanting Haitian folkloric tales of courage and hope. He told these stories between working 2 to 3 jobs and still making time to read, laugh, dance, and sing. He taught me that being whole means embracing joy, resilience, and truth simultaneously. By seeing him dance, hearing him sing, witnessing him grieve intergenerational loss, and by feeling our stories, I was inspired to write my own and to create a new way. 2, the first time I met my grandmother was in her casket on my first trip to Haiti. The second time I met my grandmother was in my dreams. It was one Sunday morning when we returned from Haiti. She sat on our living room couch in our home in her white dress, singing songs of healing. Her smile was infectious and her laugh was belly deep. She told me how proud she was of my mother, her daughter, for being able to achieve this dream. You see, my mother had left Haiti at 19 years old for a better life in America. She worked as a nanny, cleaning the homes of white people, in a factory making photo albums while going to school to become a nurse. We communicated with my grandparents by mailing them cassette tapes. My mother took care of all her siblings and parents while preparing my grandmother's visa. When my parents purchased our home, she made sure to have a room just for her mother. She couldn't wait for her to see what she had accomplished, but it was too late. At 67 years old, she was gone physically, but her spiritual presence remained with us. I learned of her sacrifices, the things she had to do to get my mother's basic needs met. I saw how these ways of being affected my own mother. Her body had kept score, and before we knew it, her body gave in. Recently, my mother said to me, "I'm sorry, I wasn't there for you emotionally when you were a child. I was working so hard to provide for you and all of my family back home." Our parents can carry such heavy weights that all we feel is their neglect. What I learned from this is the importance of boundaries, the importance of being here fully with our families as we strive to achieve our goals. I learned that all we have is now. 3, this story was the hardest to write because I'm still in the process of turning this venom into nectar. It's the biggest lesson I am still learning now. I had to ask myself, why share this? Can you share this? And the answer is a resounding yes, because by speaking my truth, I invite others to speak their truth. This is the power of the talking cure. When I think about how intergenerational trauma has manifested in my own life, my marriage comes to mind. My husband and I came into each other's lives when we really needed each other. However, when I fell in love, I became more and more aware of his intergenerational trauma, and I recognized that he wasn't trying to heal it. But somehow I thought I could help him heal and that I could love his pain away if I was facing my own generational trauma and loving my way through it. It has taken me 10 years, 10 turbulent years, to realize we can't do other people's inner work for them. I realize why so many women stay in dysfunctional relationships. It can be so hard to love ourselves the way we love other people. I had to ask myself, why did I feel like I deserved a relationship that caused me so much pain? What did this marriage represent for me? My father reminded me this was not new to our family. I cannot die and see you suffering the way all of my sisters have suffered with men who cannot fully love, cherish, respect, and honor them. You deserve better. You deserve more. You deserve to be loved. I have broken a generational curse by leaving a table where love was not being served anymore. I know it was the most empowering decision to leave this marriage and to choose to focus on healing myself. As I continue to process and grieve this loss, I am reminded not to be the enemy formed against myself. I choose not to drown in my own tears or be destroyed in the storm. My ancestors and community strengthen me to heal forward. Whenever we wake up to see another day, choose to live our lives as our authentic selves, and decide not to let another dream be deferred, we channel our anger, guilt, and shame into constructive emotions. We raise our energetic vibrations to frequencies of beauty, creativity, enlightenment, health, love, peace, truth, and wisdom. I am learning that confronting generational trauma and healing work is justice work. Restoring ourselves to a state of wholeness is abolitionist work. It starts within ourselves, within our families, and within our communities. By going within, extracting the poison, and rewriting the narrative in actions and words, our lives become alchemy. Together, we can create an elixir that ensures our future selves and generations are able to be whole. Thank you.
Whew. Okay, that's how we're starting. Arlene, before you go, I want to do two things. One, I want to apologize. I meant to read your bio, and I'm so sorry that I did not. But two, I just want to thank you for being vulnerable. You know that I love you and that I appreciate you. And right now we have over 60 women in this panel right now, and it's going to keep growing, or in this webinar right now. And so I just want to thank you so much for being you. Thank you for being beautiful. And I just want to let you know that I really appreciate you. Before you go, can you please let everyone know where they can find you and continue having conversations with you?
Folks can find me on Instagram at LaKaiLoon. I'll put it in the chat. I'll just put it in the chat right now. The